Hello, 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 my people, and Happy New Year! It's the very, very first episode in 2023. The first of many, no doubt you can trust. And I am excited. How are you? How are you? How was the Christmas festivities? How were the Christmas festivities for you? And are you ready for this year? Are you ready to activate in 2023? I'm super excited for this year and everything it holds. And back in the days, like when I used to go to church on 31st night, me and my friends used to have this running joke. We'll be screaming like as the clock strikes midnight. We'll be like, yes, 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 this is our year. And as much as yes, we meant it, yes, this is our year, but the truth was back in the days, there weren't any effective measures or any deliberate steps, any intentionality around how we actually make it our year. But we'll just be screaming, this is our year. So I wonder what it is like for you. Are you one of those people who are just so taken by the whole atmosphere, celebration, just the whole excitement of it all, and then you, at the end of the day, you don't make any plans? You go through the year, January, a little bit gingered. You're one of the people that in January, like, the gyms are full. You're one of the people that just help populate or do all those things. You start a new diet, you do all these things, but as the year progresses, you find that pretty much it's the same thing. You look under the hood of the car and it's exactly the same year that you have. It's just, different. It just comes in different bubble wraps. I hope that is not you. In any case, if it is, this episode is the episode that you need. On this episode today, I'm going to be speaking to you specifically about how to plan an epic new year, because on this podcast I want you to win. This is the Created for More podcast, and this podcast is all about helping you maximize all of what you have within you so that you can live a life of impact. You can live a life of true relevance. I want you to look back on your life at the end of your life and somehow be thankful for the contributions that this podcast made towards you achieving your legacy. That is my own personal mission. That is my own personal purpose. And every single day this year, every single time I show up this year, or either myself or my guests, you will be getting content that helps you position for that. Okay, so how to plan an epic new year. Are you ready? Let's just get straight into it. I was looking at the word epic. An epic really means something big, grand, something that is really on a huge monumental scale. But as part of project management, there is a type of way where you manage projects that is called a Scrum. It's a Scrum methodology. And in the Scrum methodology, which is the agile way of managing projects, in the Scrum methodology, there's a way that you gather kind of like requirements, or they call them stories. And a group of stories that fulfill a specific objective is actually called an epic as well. And I was thinking about that and reflecting on that and what it means for you and what it could potentially mean for you as you start to plan this year. So one of the first things I want you to realize is that you must desire an epic new year. You must desire something that is bigger than what you've always had. And in order for it to be epic, a combination of things have to happen. One, you have to have, planning that is cohesive, planning that is synchronized. So one of the things that I say is that don't just go planning goals, running, hey, I'm going to plan this, plan that, and you haven't sat down to think about how it all aligns. You must be planning goals that are aligned towards your overarching mission here on earth. You don't want to just be planning goals, because at the end of the day, they mean nothing. They take you nowhere. You have just put yourself forward in a race that isn't even yours, right? You are there doing what everybody is doing, following, keeping up with the Joneses. Meanwhile, your own vision, your own mission is left fallow. So when you're planning, this is just a bonus point. It's not even my main, what I want to talk to you about today, but when you're planning, I want you to think about it from the top. Think about it from your mission. What is your overarching mission? What is your vision? And get crystal on all of this so that your goals naturally come out of those. Okay, so Epic New Year. I am going to be using EPIC as an acronym. And if this was a mathematical equation, it would look something like this. It would look E dot P raised to the power 3 raised to the power 3, and it would have I raised to the power 2, and then it would have C raised to the power 2. Don't worry, I know it doesn't make any sense, but it will, I promise you. Okay, so number one, let's look at EPIC, the word EPIC. E, the very first E on EPIC, which is the singular E, which stands for evaluate. Please, I beg you, do not start anything without thorough evaluation. You want to make sure that you count your stock. You want to make sure that you weigh how your previous year was. 2023, if nothing at all, even if you feel as if, I didn't achieve anything at all, it should serve as your baseline. And your baseline is, what you use to benchmark the next, right? So you sit down and you reflect on 2023. You think about what you achieved. You think about how you achieved the things. You think about what you do, and actually go into the detail. Go into the detail. Make sure that you really, really understand. If you had been good in 2023 and 2022, you should have been journaling, because that would have just been easy. You just go into your journal and you are flicking through and seeing the patterns, because yes, you are speaking every single day. You are speaking to yourself. You are speaking to the world, whether you realize it or not. You are. So the patterns really are what are the hallmarks? What are the things that outline how you have performed, whether you have performed well or you have not performed well. What are the things that constitute your overall output? Okay, so you want to be looking at things like what worked, what didn't work, which months were you most productive. You want to be looking at even things like who were your helpers in 2022, and then also who were your detractors, who were the people that came into your life, and then every time they would say something or maybe make snide comments that would just make you feel off your game or lose confidence, or feel shameful. You want to make sure you can account for all of that, and then also importantly, note down crucially what you would do differently if given the chance. Be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. If you were given a chance to live 2022 again, what would you do? Write that down. Write it plain so that it is clear for you to see. So that is the first E, and E is all about evaluating. Don't run into any year without proper evaluation. The next one is P, and I said P, if we're listening, was raised to the power 3. So what we have here are 3 P's. Okay, so the first P is all about preparing. Now you have, evaluated. I want you to now start to really prepare. And preparing is for you, and I mean mental preparation, because the mental preparation must come before anything physical can be manifested, right? So you have to be the man for the job, the man that is going to have more in 2023 is the man or woman that prepares for more. So preparing really is getting your mindset, getting clear and saying, okay, you know what, that question you asked yourself at the end, what would I do differently if given a chance? Then start to really, really go into that question. What is it? What exactly do I want out of 2023? You decide that now. You don't decide it when you are already far into 2023, because that is what will guide your steps every single day It must guide and influence the decisions and the things that you decide to take on or not take on this year. So think, really, really dig deep. How do I prepare? What do I want my output mentally? What do I want my output to be this year? And then mentally prepare. Envision yourself. I always talk about visioning. There's a podcast I did on vision. You want to, on how to envision. You want to go back to that podcast, but really, really just get into the feeling. Get into the feelings and the emotions of what you want this year. If you want a house in the Bahamas, start thinking and seeing yourself as the person who owns a house in Bahamas. Because if you can't see it in your mind, trust me, brother, trust me, sister, you are not getting nada. The next thing is prune, but the next P is prune. And this is so important. We all want more, but sometimes we don't make room for more. Right? So the first thing, and this might actually have to be something that you do both physically and actually in intangible ways as well. So you prune, look around. What are the things that are just kind of cluttering your life? Things that are not working, things that are not adding. Some relationships have to go. They will actually fall out as a result of this point I am talking about. So think about the evaluation that you did and think about the things that you're preparing yourself for, and then you start to prune, remove the things that don't fit, remove the things that don't add up, remove the things that don't add to where you want to get to. Remove them so that you can be free to step into the newness and the wholeness of yourself. I once heard T.D. Jakes say something along the lines of, everybody can get anywhere they want to do. The real question is not will I get there? The real question is, what am I willing to leave behind so that I can get to where I want to get to? So that's the question you ask yourself. What is not adding to me in this desire of me getting to this place? What are the things that I know will trip me up? What are the things that I know will cause me to slow down? Crucially, what are the things that I know will cause me to slow down so that I can address those things so that I can get where I want to get to as quickly as possible? Look, for me, honestly, this year started with just clear out. Kitchen cupboards out, freezers out, because I want to make space. One of the things that I'm big on this year. So again, planning with my mission, I want to impact a lot more people, and to impact a lot more people, I will need the time to be able to do that. Okay, right? If I need the time to be able to do that, what are the things that will free up some of my time so that I can do that? One of the things that I'm going to be doing a lot more this year is actually meal prepping for my family, because it takes me a lot of time. If I'm doing it, as and when they need stuff, then I may not always be available at the time. So what am I doing? I am clearing out things. I'm making sure I know where everything is so that it is easier for me to put the things that I need for them available. So for me to meal prep, for me to create the structure around, what my kids are eating, my husband is eating, and all of that, I needed to clear out. I need to remove. This is past the sell-by date. It's a tea that has been in our cupboard since nobody has really drunk it for a long time, or no one has really drunk for a long time, so it's going straight in the bin. So some things are going to go because they are past their sell-by date, so maybe they are expired and they will be harmful to you. Some things are going to go because they are not adding any value. You've not had it in 2-3 years. You've not spoken to this person. You've not done it. Then it's not adding any value. You're going to remove it. So these are some considerations that I want you to have. And also remember, you must make room for the new if you want to new. Good will not come if good does not feel welcome with you. Okay, so I really want you to take this point really, really seriously and make room for the things that you expect by pruning the things that don't add value. Number 3, are you ready for the third P? So the third P is all about, planning. And planning really, the word I could use for it is also positioning. Planning, like really sitting down and saying, okay, you have become the mental person mentally that wants to do the thing. You remove the things that don't add up. Okay, now you have the room for the things that you want to invite into your life. So start to plan, start to position yourself. Be entrenched in particular positions. Like, this is where I stand. This is exactly what I will do. I know you've watched a lot of all this war movies and all of that. If you've watched any of them, you know that the people who are running on the battlefield, the frontline soldiers, look, they don't have anything to do with the most important thing in that battle, because the most important thing in the battle is strategy, and this happens behind closed doors. It happens far back. The people who are running on the fields are just following directions. So what I'm talking about you doing here is actually the most important thing that will impact your year. And this is you taking time and planning. Okay, how exactly, tactically am I going to get some of the things that I want to do? Think about your year in quarters. Think about the big deliverables you want at the end of every quarter. Think about how you want to achieve these things, and then get prepared. And think about what you need for your journey. A lot of people always say, hey, everybody's always preparing at the start of the year. Don't fall for that. Don't be a part of the statistic of people who just coast through life year by year, and every single year they get the same outcome. Don't be a part of that statistic. I want you to sit down and make sure you think very, very, very strategically. The next one, I'm moving now onto the I in EPIC, and I is 2 raised to the power 2. So the first I speaks to investing. Look, you can't get anything without investing. That's just the law of life. And when I say investing instantly, please, some people have already switched off and they're thinking, hey, she's coming for my money. No, I'm not saying that. That is part of it. But what I'm talking about is, what are you willing to invest? Right? You must invest in the place of learning. You must invest in the place of relationships. You must invest in every single way if you are to build an epic new year. Okay, there's going to be sacrifices that you will make that will be directly linked with the successes of this year. So I want you to really, really sit down and think, what am going to be my major investments from a personal development perspective? What am I going to learn this year that I didn't know in last year that is going to help me on my journey to an epic new year? So you want to think about that. You want to think about, okay, where are the places that you need to invest time, either from a mentorship perspective, or you want to invest time from even from a volunteering perspective, because sometimes you give in spaces of not sometimes you give in places of volunteering, and you know that is going to be coming back to you one way or the other. So think really carefully, how are you investing your time? This is a very important point. Please don't gloss over this one. How are you going to invest your time? You have 24 hours every single day, as does every single person, even the world's most successful man. I don't even know if it's Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. They just seem to go, interchangeably between themselves, just carry the money. But I want you to really, really think, how are they investing their time? What are they doing? I'm telling you, they're not doing anything different from what I've outlined in my in these pointers that I'm giving you here. They're also thinking about what major moves are they going to make if this was your very last year on earth. What major moves would you make? How would you invest your time? How would you invest your energy? How would you invest your resources? Which relationships will you prioritize? So you want to sit down and think very strategically about this point. The next I stands for invite. Who are you inviting to be a collaborator on your journey this year? And when I say invite, and people are thinking, oh God, I'm going to invite them. Oh, I wish I could, connect with these people, but they're so out of my league. Da, 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 da. Look, when I say invite, I mean it both inversely and conversely. Okay? Some people you need to invite yourself into what they're doing. Don't feel as if anybody is out of your league. Do not feel as if anybody is out of your league. Go. Anybody that is doing something that you feel inspired by, that you want to invest in, that you feel like, you know what, this is along, the tangent that I want my life's tangent to be about as well. Go there. Introduce yourself. Invite yourself. And a lot of times when people, and this is where people get it wrong, because they think, oh, you know what, how would I just go and invite myself? Look, when you are carrying value, when you offer value, people will listen. Go there and say, look, this is what I'm doing. This is what I have. This is how I can contribute to what you're doing. People will listen. But when you go there, I don't really know. I just like, you're just deliberately vague. You DM somebody and then in the DM, people don't really understand. You're just vague. People, they will ignore your DMs. Man, they will ignore your DMs. But when you go and you have a solid value proposition, look, this is what you're doing. This is how I think I can add to it. This is that you are inviting yourself onto their space and you are opening up opportunities for collaboration that will significantly increase you in 2023. So think from the perspective of invite. Who can you invite to your table and how will you invite yourself to other tables? Okay, so that is the second I. I'm moving on swiftly now to our C's. I said there will be two C's. The first C is about courage. This year we will move with courage. This year we will move with courage. If you think about last year, I am sure that there are some specific things that you have wanted to do that you didn't do, possibly because you were lacking the courage to do it. What will people say? How would it look like? Will you feel scrutinized? You feel judged? Perhaps you feel maybe ashamed from the past, or something that maybe might catch up with you that you don't want to, you just don't want to expose yourself. You have to think about what is in it for you. Right? As you consider and you review from that perspective, I want you to think from, what does courage look like for you this year, and what will courage allow you to do this year? And for you, some of you have to expand that courage quotient. You must speak. You must come out. Nobody knows what your convictions are unless you speak about them. So this year is about being our most courageous self, coming out from under the shade, and so what? Being a champion of and so what? If people think and they have their thoughts about this, and so what? Who are you more concerned about? Are you thinking about what people will say? Or are you more concerned about what the God who gave you the assignment upon your life will say at the end of the day? This year, be your most courageous self. Courage is the permission you give yourself to speak about the things that are true to you and the convictions that you hold dear. Okay? So be your most courageous self. In your planning, plan courageously. Plan courageously. Execute courageously everything that you're going to do this year. The final C is close. You must be a closer this year. You must be a closer this year. This year is not going to be about the things that you started. It will be about the things that you finished. Okay, so everything that you do this year, you have to think about it from a closure perspective. Don't let things just stray and it just you started this and you don't even know where it is now. Somebody asks you, what is that thing, Choma, that you were doing before? It's true. I used to send this thing, but I forgot. I just left it. No, that will not be your testimony. This year is about closing. There's going to be intentionality with every single thing that you do. As long as you're starting something, you're already planning for the end of it. Even if it's not going to get to where you thought it will get to, be deliberate and intentional in the closing of it. Let it be that, okay, I have reached the end. I have learned my lesson. This is how I will do it the next time. I have closed it effectively. Don't let things just drift where you cannot explain where it started, where it stopped. No, that will not be your testimony this year. Give yourself time frames for every single thing that you will commit yourself to this year. I started at this time. I finish it at this time. Okay? This year is all about closing. A lot of people teach you about how to start the year right, but not enough people are teaching you about how to close things effectively so that you take power from them. Okay, so that's what I have for you this year, all about having an epic new year. This year is going to be great for you on this podcast, and I know that if you take the things that I have shared and you break them down, you write them in your journal and make an action plan, you will already start to see yourself go on a new trajectory. But that's not all. This year, I am absolutely invested in your success. I want you to do well. And what I am doing is I'm actually pulling together a free webinar for members of my community called Activate 2023. And what I am going to do is help you activate your most epic year ever. And I'm going to be delving down. I'm going to be teaching things that will help you. If you've ever been confused and uncertain about how to achieve and maintain focused areas for you, if you feel like you lack fulfillment and you don't really know what you want to do, if you feel like your years are the same, every single year just feels like a relabeled year, like they call it 2023, but really it's still the same 2019 and 2020, then you want to be here. What you can do such that you can get the most out of this year, I'm going to be discussing at this webinar. It's on the 8th of January. Details are going to be in the show notes. I want you to go out, have a look at them so that you can be there. You will need to register. Attendance is free, but registration is important. Okay, all right then. I have one more announcement, and my announcement this year is, guys, I was looking at my statistics, podcast statistics from Spotify, and I was just beside myself. This podcast, yes, you heard it. This podcast is in the top 15% of podcasts that are listened to religiously globally, and I was just beside myself with joy. So I want to say a massive thank you for being on this journey for with me. Thank you for tuning in every single week. And then beyond that, I also want you to subscribe, because our subscription figures are not commensurate with our listening figures. So I want you to please take the time. If you listen on Apple, please subscribe. If you listen on Spotify as well, you can follow the podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. It makes a difference. And then in addition to that, please leave a comment as well. Please drop a comment, drop a rating, drop a review so that I can continue to bring you good content. The more ratings, the more numbers we have, the better everything will be. The bigger, the better the guests, the better the content, the better everything has a direct relationship. So I want you to keep that in mind as we roll full steam together into 2023. I'll see you at the webinar, and I cannot wait for all the great things we will unpack together this year. Remember, you were created for more.